It starts with birdsong and a slow sunrise over Hollow Creek Estates. A quiet neighborhood, all picture-perfect lawns and white-trimmed fences. The kind of place where folks smile too hard and wave just a second too long. I moved here with my dad, Harold Whitmore, 3 years ago, after his second stroke. He needed the calm. I needed to keep him close. We're the only black family on the South Loop, maybe the only ones who aren't part of the HOA's little inner circle. Still, we keep to ourselves. Our home, a modest ranch style tucked at the end of Camellia Drive, is shaded by pecan trees and humming with wind chimes. I built a custom ramp for Dad's wheelchair, reinforced the doors, and kept the garden neat. No violations. No drama. I wave, I smile, I nod, just like they do. But I feel it. That edge. That watchfulness. Started small. A sticky note on the mailbox. Trash bins should be tucked away by 7 a.m. Then, a citation for unapproved solar panel installation, even though I had county permits. A warning about our security cameras violating community aesthetics. And once, a woman I'd never met blocked me at the gate, asking which house I was visiting. I live here, I said. Her eyes narrowed like I'd spat in her coffee. Lately, it's been Karen. I don't actually know her real name, but that's what everyone calls her. Karen Pearson. HOA president. Platinum Bob. Power-walking menace in pastel tracksuits. Always on her Bluetooth headset, always with a clipboard, and always 3 steps into your business. She's the type who reports a lawn before it turns brown. Once I caught her snapping photos of my porch. She claimed it was for record-keeping. I tried not to let it bother me. There's always one in every neighborhood, right? But 2 weeks ago, I caught her standing on my ramp, on it, measuring it. She didn't flinch when I opened the door. HOA code states that permanent fixtures must align with uniform front elevation standards, she said, not even looking up. This structure is obtrusive. That's a medical ramp, I said. My father uses it to live. Her smile was tight and empty. I'm sure he does. But standards are standards. I reported it to the city. They sided with me, but that didn't stop her. Since then, things have gotten odd. Mail going missing. A landscaping crew accidentally cutting our irrigation line. Last night, someone left a folded HOA citation on the windshield of my car. I haven't opened it yet, because honestly, I'm exhausted and wary. There's a hum in the air, like the sky before a storm. My dad's health is fragile, my patience thinner. And this morning, as I sip my coffee and watch Karen march down the sidewalk with a whistle and that clipboard like it's a weapon, I get that sinking feeling again. Something's coming. And this time, it won't be petty. Let me know when you're ready for Section 2. The disruption. It starts with a low beeping in the middle of the night. Dad's medical monitor, just a flicker, just once. I bolt upright. My bedroom's only 10 steps from his, but I take them like a sprint. He's fine. Breathing slow, deep, but the machine had cut off. Power flickered. I checked the hallway light switch, nothing. Whole house is dark. A blackout? I step outside. Street lamps glow like always. Porch lights flicker from every other house. But not mine. Then I see the gate. The mechanical box near our meter has been popped open. Exposed wires. A snapped lock. I don't touch anything. Just grab my phone and call the electric company. We've had no outages in your area, the rep says. No work orders either. Could be vandalism. Might be worth filing a police report. I do. Officers show up. Flashlights, notebooks, bored expressions. One of them, a tall deputy with mirrored sunglasses, at night, tilts his head like I'm wasting time. Probably a raccoon, he says. A raccoon ripped open a locked power box and pulled wiring? He shrugs. They leave. Nothing filed. No real concern. That morning, I find Karen standing in my driveway, hands on hips, clipboard ready like she's been waiting for dawn. I noticed your security lights were out last night, she says. I study her. She's smiling again, that same rehearsed grin. Why were you looking at my house? I walk the block. It's part of community safety. Just making sure everything's Secure. She taps her pen against the board. By the way, that ramp, still not regulation. You should expect a fine. I don't say a word. Just stare at her until she leaves. But now I'm watching. I start reviewing our camera footage, cloud backups, just in case. The motion sensor caught someone near the side of the house around 2:14 a.m. A figure in a hood, crouched near the meter box. No clear face, but the posture, the frame, something about it feels familiar. And then it hits me. 3 nights ago, I saw Karen walking her dog after midnight. No leash, no flashlight, just pacing. I can't prove it. Not yet. But I know. Later that week, a fire truck screams down the block, only to stop at the corner. I rush outside. Someone's called them for a false alarm. Karen's already there, gesturing wildly at nothing. That house has electrical issues, she shouts, pointing at mine. It's a hazard. The firefighters exchange a glance and quietly climb back into the truck. No inspection. No emergency. That's when it sinks in. She's not just petty. She's escalating. Targeting me, my house, my father. I look at the shredded citations still on my windshield, now soggy with rain. It's not about code or property values. It's about control. And she thinks I won't push back. But she's wrong. Because I may not have proof now. But I'm damn sure about one thing. She's playing a dangerous game. And she's not ready for what happens when I start playing. I don't sleep that night. I sit by the window with a thermos of coffee and my dad's old baseball bat across my lap. Karen's made it clear this isn't about rules. It's about power. And I'm done giving her any. The next morning, I march straight to the HOA office. It's a small, tan trailer behind the community pool. Temporary, they said, but it's been here 5 years. The door's open, but the air inside feels cold. Sterile. Karen's there, flanked by 2 board members. Carl, who once tried to find a neighbor for a wind chime, and Marlene, who's never spoken to me unless it involved lawn height regulations. They look up with matching expressions. Surprise, then annoyance. I want to file a formal complaint, I say, placing a folder on the desk. Tampering with my power. Harassment. Discrimination. Karen doesn't even touch the folder. You're upset, she says coolly, folding her hands. I understand, but we all have to follow community guidelines. If your electricity is faulty, someone ripped open my meter box. The footage shows a person on my property at 2 a.m., and you've been caught loitering around my home, issuing citations that don't exist in our charter. This is targeted. Carl leans forward. Let's not make this into something it's not. I blink. Excuse me? You're new here, he says with a thin smile. Sometimes people have a hard time adjusting to. To what? I cut in. To being watched? Harassed? Lied on. Karen gives me that same rehearsed grin. We've received multiple complaints about your property. Noise. Unauthorized modifications. Non-compliance. You mean my ramp? The one approved by the city. She tilts her head. Smug. City permits don't override HOA regulations. You should know that. I leave before I say something reckless. But the fire's lit. I go home and pull every document I've got. Permits, footage, timestamps, complaints. Then I email a friend, James, a civil rights attorney I went to college with. He's been itching to go after HOAs for years. I give him everything. He calls me the next day. Bro, this is a gold mine. You've got a pattern of harassment, tampering with utilities, and possibly even a civil rights violation. Especially if we can show racial bias. I already know where to look. The HOA Facebook group. Private, but I've got a dummy account. I scroll, and then I see it. A post from Karen, just a week ago. We must preserve the culture and character of Hollow Creek. Certain new residents don't understand what it means to live in a respectable community. Some people bring their issues with them. 30 likes, comments agreeing. One even reads, "They'll turn this place into Southside if we're not careful." I screenshot everything. My stomach turns. This isn't just bias. It's racial hostility disguised as policy. A coordinated effort to push us out. 2 days later, it explodes. Dad collapses in the kitchen. I call 911. The dispatcher stays calm, and within minutes, I hear sirens. But they don't reach us. I run outside. The ambulance is stopped at the corner, lights flashing, but the gate won't open. Karen stands in front of it, arms folded, barking into her walkie. This entrance is for residents only. Emergency vehicles must use the secondary gate. What? I yell. There is no secondary gate. The paramedics are trapped behind her. One tries to reason, but she holds firm, claiming protocol and liability. My dad's inside, unconscious, alone. I grab bolt cutters from the garage, sprint to the gate, and slice the chain she's wrapped around the emergency latch. The paramedics race in, barely glancing at her. Dad's breathing but faint. He's rushed to the ER. That night, I file a report with the police, the state health department, and the Office of Civil Rights. James sends a letter to the HOA citing obstruction of emergency services and violation of federal protections for the disabled. But it's not enough. Not yet. Because when I check the gate's camera feed, my camera, I see it. Karen locking the gate minutes before the ambulance arrives. No notice. No alert to the city. Just her, a bolt cutter, and a smug little smirk on her face. This isn't just harassment anymore. This is criminal. And if she wants war, she just got it. The Saturday morning when I get the call. Not from James. Not from the HOA. From a man who doesn't give his name. Just a badge number and 3 letters that stop me cold. FBI. He's brief, polite, direct. We've received a federal interference complaint involving obstruction of emergency medical services and potential civil rights violations. We'd like to review your footage and speak with you in person. By the time I hang up, my hands are shaking. Not from fear, from relief, from the sense that the tide, finally, is turning. And I know just how to twist the knife. The HOA's monthly board meeting is that evening, held in the community clubhouse. It's usually a sleepy, smug affair. Karen holding court, residents nodding along like bobbleheads. But tonight, word's gotten out. Neighbors whisper on the sidewalk. I hear murmurs of what happened. That someone almost died. That Karen blocked paramedics at the gate. And I hear the cracks beginning to show. Inside, the room is packed. Folding chairs. I stand in the back, letting the tension build. Karen sits at the front table in a pale blue blazer, gold HOA badge gleaming like it's a sheriff's star. Her smile never wavers. Before we begin, she says sweetly, I'd like to address the baseless rumors circulating in our community. Claims that I personally interfered with an emergency vehicle last week. She lets the pause hang, like a courtroom actor waiting for applause. These claims are inflammatory, inaccurate, and frankly insulting. I've always acted in the best interest of Hollow Creek Estates. Always. And I have the full support of this board. Carl and Marlene nod on cue. A few claps. She smiles wider. So unless someone here has concrete evidence of wrongdoing, I suggest we move on to landscaping ordinances. I take a step forward. I do. Silence. Karen's eyes flash to mine, just for a second. Just enough to register fear. I hold up a flash drive. This contains security footage from my gate. It shows you, Karen, manually locking the gate less than 2 minutes before the ambulance arrived. There is no protocol authorizing that, and no emergency alert issued. You acted alone. She blinks. That's ridiculous. I was following HOA safety standards. I raise my voice, calm but sharp. You interfered with an emergency response. My father flatlined in our kitchen while paramedics were blocked from reaching him. That's not a finable offense, Karen. That's federal. It's obstruction. It's endangerment. It's a violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And as of this morning, the FBI is investigating. Gasps ripple through the room. Karen's smile shatters like glass. You don't have jurisdiction. No, I say. But they do. I step aside, and 2 men in dark suits emerge from the hallway behind me. Quiet, observant. One of them holds a small recorder. The other flashes a badge just long enough for people to see the letters. Karen stumbles backward. Her voice rises, panicked now. This is outrageous. I've done nothing wrong. He's trying to smear me. He's always had an attitude. Someone in the crowd interrupts. We've seen you harass him for months, Karen. Another voice. You tried to fine my husband for flying a Juneteenth flag. A third. You said they'd lower our property values. Karen's eyes dart around. Her allies shrink in their seats. Marlene quietly slides her chair away. Carl looks like he wants to disappear. I don't say another word. I don't have to, because for the first time since I moved here, they see her. Not the clipboard. Not the forced smile. Her. The arrogance. The entitlement. The quiet war she's been waging under the cover of bylaws and fake authority. And now she's exposed. The agents ask her to step outside. She hesitates, sputtering about legal representation. But they don't need her permission. One begins reading her Miranda rights. She tries to shout something about defamation. But nobody's listening. All I hear is the sound of chairs creaking, people murmuring. And the last sentence from one of the agents as the doors close behind her. You have the right to remain silent. Karen doesn't go quietly. She's outside the clubhouse for nearly an hour, pacing, gesturing wildly at the two FBI agents as they question her. She laughs too loud, flails her arms, clutches her chest like she's the one being victimized. Every so often, she glances back at the clubhouse, hoping someone, anyone, will rush to her defense. No one does. Inside, the room simmers. People who used to avoid eye contact with me now turn. Shaken. Whispers ripple across rows of folding chairs. One neighbor, Miss Florence, the retired nurse from across the cul-de-sac, leans forward and whispers, "We knew something was wrong, but we didn't think it was this." I nod, not out of vindication yet, but because this is bigger than me, bigger than even my dad. It's about every quiet injustice she buried under paperwork and petty rules. And now, it's unraveling fast. The FBI takes her statement, logs the footage from my camera, and quietly informs her she's under formal investigation. No handcuffs yet, but she's pale, shaking. One of the agents takes down names of HOA board members, her allies, associates, enablers, and then boom, Channel 9 Action News rolls up. I didn't call them. Someone else did. Maybe a neighbor. Maybe James. Doesn't matter. The moment that news van parks on the curb, everything changes. A young black reporter in a sleek blue suit steps out with a cameraman behind him, mic in hand. He's already live-streaming. Breaking news. Allegations of racial harassment and emergency obstruction in Hollow Creek Estates. HOA President Karen Whitmore is under federal investigation tonight after reportedly blocking paramedics from reaching a disabled man in cardiac distress. The words are barely out of his mouth before neighbors swarm. Cameras flash. Karen tries to wave them off, holding her hand in front of the lens like she's some celebrity. No comment. This is a misunderstanding. An overreaction. I've served this community for 10 years. The reporter doesn't blink. Ma'am, is it true you manually locked the gate moments before the ambulance arrived? Were you aware your actions could be considered federal interference? Karen spins, pointing at me like a villain at the climax of a courtroom drama. This is his fault. He's been antagonizing me for months. He doesn't respect authority. He never followed the rules. This is all just a race card play. I step forward, calm. This isn't about playing anything. It's about you weaponizing your position to target residents you didn't want here. I've got records of your citations, emails, footage, and now you've endangered someone's life. It's not about perception anymore, Karen. It's evidence. The reporter looks to me. Would you be willing to share that footage with us? Already emailed. Karen turns white. Behind her, Carl tries to sneak off, but the cameraman catches him in the background, and the reporter calls out, "Sir, as a member of the board, do you have a comment about your role in enforcing discriminatory policies?" Carl freezes like a deer in headlights, then bolts. Marlene slinks away too, ducking behind a parked Lexus. And then, like clockwork, the rest of the neighborhood wakes up. One woman, who's always kept to herself, raises her voice. Karen fined me 6 times for having my niece's car in my driveway. I didn't even live here back then. Another. She told me not to host quinceañeras because it disturbs the suburban tone of the neighborhood. Then the floodgates open. Story after story. From Black families, Latino families, single parents, elderly residents. Every one of them has a Karen story. Some were just annoyances. Others, flat-out abuse. And every camera catches it. Live. Karen can't spin it. Can't silence it. Not anymore. By the next morning, it's everywhere. Clips of her screaming on camera. The security footage from my gate. Interviews with neighbors. Headlines plastered across every local outlet. HOA president blocks EMTs. Now under federal probe. Paramedic obstruction sparks civil rights investigation. Federal heat on Hollow Creek HOA. Even the mayor releases a statement. But the final blow comes later that day, in the form of a letter posted on every mailbox in the neighborhood. Notice of immediate suspension. Karen Whitmore is no longer HOA president. The board scrambles to save itself, calling an emergency vote. Karen's position is dissolved. The bylaws she twisted are being re-reviewed. Her fines are being reversed, her citations nullified. And as for Karen, she's under investigation. Her face is on every screen. Her job, regional property consultant, is gone. Clients dropped her. Her LinkedIn disappears. The local paper runs an op-ed titled Power, Prejudice, and the Price of Control. She stays inside now. Shades drawn. No more clipboard walks. No more barking on the HOA radio. Her empire of mulch complaints and neighborhood integrity is dust. And the neighborhood starts to breathe again. The kids ride bikes down my street without being told to keep it quiet. Miss Florence waves when I walk by. People talk now. Share. And for the first time since moving here, Hollow Creek feels like home. 3 weeks after the showdown, a knock echoes through Karen's front door at 6:17 a.m. She doesn't answer. She doesn't have to. The federal agents do it for her. A quiet arrest. No media circus. Just a cruiser parked in front of her colonial-style home. Neighbors peeking through blinds as Karen is led down the brick steps in handcuffs, wearing that same pale blue blazer she used to wear like armor. Except now it hangs off her like defeat. Federal interference with emergency medical services. Civil rights violations under the ADA. Reckless endangerment. The charges hit like a landslide. Her attorney pleads not guilty, but the case builds fast. Witnesses line up. Footage circulates. The Department of Justice opens a civil review into Hollow Creek HOA policies, flagging them for patterns of racially targeted enforcement. Karen's name becomes synonymous with the abuse of suburban power. HOA horror stories flood forums and news segments. A new podcast episode titles itself, Gated and Hated, The Karen Chronicles. She's not just exposed. She's a case study. And me? I finally sleep through the night. Dad's recovering well. The doctors say the delay nearly cost us everything. But the defibrillator worked. The EMTs who got blocked by the gate stopped by the house a few days later. One of them, Marcus, hands me a small token. It's a patch from their unit. You fought for him. And for all of us, he says. Don't think that went unnoticed. It doesn't. Because something else starts happening. People talk to me differently now. The ones who once crossed the street when I walked by with groceries now wave. A few apologize, awkwardly, clumsily, but sincerely. Miss Florence invites Dad to her book club, and he actually goes. Kids ride their scooters down the sidewalk past our house and wave like it's normal. Because now it is. The HOA is completely overhauled. A new, diverse board is voted in, volunteers from the very people Karen used to fine into silence. They nix the petty citation system, remove the unnecessary gate protocol. They even host a block-wide barbecue called Ungated. And when I show up, they hand me the mic. I almost say no. Then I see my dad in the front row, arms crossed, smiling like I haven't seen in years. So I speak. People like Karen don't start fires. They hide matches in plain sight and pretend they smell smoke. But we all let her. Until someone almost died. A beat of silence. Then a voice in the crowd. But you stopped her. I look around. Faces of neighbors, black, white, Latino, Asian. Former strangers. Now allies. No, I say. We stopped her. Because when one person stands up, it's just noise. But when a neighborhood wakes up, it's a reckoning. Applause breaks out, not forced, not polite. Real. And as the sun sets over Hollow Creek, I sit with my father on the porch, watching kids chase fireflies and old men sip sweet tea. I'm proud of you, he says softly. I'm proud of us, I reply, because we didn't just win a fight. We changed the rules of the game. And Karen? She thought her badge gave her power. Turns out, justice wears no uniform, just truth, and enough people willing to finally see it.